Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special, I don't know what this is, a special edition show, special edition watch along. We are here basically just to hang out and follow the live updates from the tribunal hearing. I've got Pommy with me, mate. How you doing? How you feeling?
Hey, good. This is familiar territory, emergency pods. We're back.
We lose. You don't appear on the Blue Abroad show, but you're here anyway. So it's just meant to be, mate. You're meant to be here.
Mate, I love. I'm just a bad news bear, aren't I? That's who I am.
No, look, I don't know what tonight's going to be. I don't expect much from tonight if I'm being dead honest. But yeah, basically for those that are just tuning in now, welcome. Look, we're just going to hang out, follow the updates from the hearing. Tim Kelly's hearing finished a little early, so they've brought forward the Patrick Cripps hearing to 6:15, as what they say on the website. So essentially, yeah, we're just going to read out the updates as they come. So stay tuned with us. I mean, look, let's be honest, we're all going to be following it anyway, so we might as well hang out together and have a bit of a chat. I guess we can also talk about other things as well. There was a bit of a fallout last night after Harry Mackay appeared on the couch. Some people were not happy, including us. We were a bit emotional last night. So for those of you watching along, if you'd like to come on, just put a comment in. We can get a few of you on as well if you want to talk about other things. I expect there to be some idle time, and we'll just sort of have a chat and hang out as we always do. Pom, what do you think about this hearing? Have you got hope that anything's really going to come of it?
It's hard to say because I mean, this is like one of them lotteries. Really, Bugs Bell took the words out of my mouth. It's a lottery.
Yep.
It is. It's one of them lotteries. You just don't quite fully know. No one knows what the rules are, really, do they? Because they say that they don't focus on the outcome, but I said to Paolo and me had a bit of a debate about it, and I was like, 2 weeks was my guess. I was like, because as soon as someone gets concussed, you've got to times whatever the punishment is by 2. So I'll add 2. And yeah, I think it's a weird one because we are getting into, I feel like, a real grey area with the AFL, because you could say that was a marking contest. Then they'll look at, did he have to make contact? You could say no. But I worry we're getting into a real grey area, and I've covered this a lot. Faz, I think, is in chat. We've covered this until it's blue in the face about the ducking. I think when you start making these rules, you're going into a grey area where it's going to be unsafe. And if players don't fully commit, the quickest way, if you've ever played rugby, to get hurt is if you don't commit to contact and you start cowering out of it. And that's one of my worries here, is that this is one of them cases where that's a very common footballing incident. We're going to get into a grey area where players are going to get hurt because they're always going to have one mind in their own safety, but also their continuity of playing games.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'll be honest. When I saw it in the moment, in the heat of the moment live, my initial reaction was, shit, that's it. He's gone. Probably because I've just watched this evolve over time. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, there is just this situation where, forget about if you choose to bump, forget about anything. It really has become more often than not a situation where if the player that gets hit from a knock, a bump, whatever, if they're concussed, more likely than not, you're going to be looked at and you're going to be cited. Now, that wasn't the case with Matt Kennedy last week, who was concussed and had a broken jaw. I think it was a contest with Sam Berry. Maybe that was a little bit different because it would seem to be head-on-head collision and didn't even really get spoken about. This is a situation where it wasn't a marking contest. It was a handball, or it was just a ball in the air. There was no mark that was going to be paid. So both players are just going for the ball. There's an angle that looks good for Cripps, I think. There's an angle that looks not so good for Cripps. The one that looks good is the one where he's clearly got his arms out as if he's about to mark the ball. And then in that split millisecond, you realize you're not going to win, you're not going to mark the ball, and you've got to brace. And I guess that, we're going to find out tonight whether or not that's enough to suggest that it was a genuine contest, and we'll see. We're facing a 2-week suspension. I think the rules have changed. This can't be upgraded to 3 if we lose, right?
Yeah, correct. So it's going to be 2 weeks max. I mean, I think what is interesting is Christian's got this. I mean, when you look at the history of these type of incidents involving the MRO, he's going to have. He's really got 2 options, right? Does he view it that Cripps elected to bump? The forcing him from the field isn't part of it, but it's going to be, will he take the view that it was a reasonable play on the ball and the contact was what they call incidental? That will allow him to play. Do you know what I mean? And they'll rescind it and it may be a fine because they'll downgrade it a little bit. Or will they look at it in the terms of that it wasn't reasonable, it was careless conduct, high contact, and then you're looking at that, will they back it in and say it's deemed severe and you'll get the 2 weeks? It's a real stupid thing. I mean, my gut is telling me 1 week, to be honest. I think they may downgrade it by the week. And but I think again, it's a very grey area. It's a very physical game. These things, they've got. You look at that back, and you talked about the footage. The footage is great because one incident you think, okay, cool, it's just a part of the game, and then there's another incident and you think, oh, okay, cool. If I freeze it here, he's now looking at Archie, he's lining him up, and that's 2 weeks. I think you're looking at a very, very. You've got to appreciate these players have a split second to react. And if Cripps didn't make that, we'd be now having a conversation. Does Cripps care?
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? And this is what annoys me about this. They are encouraging a generation of cowards in the terms of players are just going to stop doing it. And before you know it, then you're taking the beautiful part of our game, which is its courage. It is physical. And I'm not a fan because Cripps has played the toughest area in the game for 6-7 years now. This is the first time he's ever been cited. Like Cripps, I would say, is the definition of fair.
Yeah. I mean, there's the what do they call it? The good guy tax and the superstar rule. I think Cripps qualifies for both of them. The good guy, I think he also qualifies for the superstar rule. Can we get a bit of a pomspiracy here? Do the AFL really want Carlton not playing finals football when there's an opportunity for Melbourne, Richmond, Collingwood, and Carlton to be there? I don't know. I'm just being a little funny, but I don't know. We're just going to follow it and see how it goes. For those who are asking, Tim Kelly, he was found guilty, so he's going to miss after his 1-match suspension was upheld. They said that the potential to cause injury was significant as Berry was slung 360 degrees with his feet off the ground and the arm could have protected his fall pin. I mean, that's something that will probably come up with us. In actual fact, it did come up with us with Will Hayes. That was a situation where we didn't challenge, but now looking at this Kelly decision, you could probably argue that the same outcome would have been reached even if we did challenge that. So that's definitely something that's going to change the way tackling is taught. It has to. You almost can't pin the arm and drag to ground. It's going to take some adjustment.
It's weird, and I think the AFL, in my opinion, I was very controversial last week where I said that everything that is wrong with today's game, whether it be mental health, whether it would be concussion injuries, from this day forth, I would say from 2020, since they started making the rules, is 100% at the door of the AFL. So I'm talking mental health, the social media traumas we talk about. I'm talking about the traumas they face in game. That every change is causing these problems, and it's because they're going overzealous with it. And I fear, don't want to sound like an old bastard, I think you're ruining the fabric of the game. I think you're ruining the fabric of the game. These players know what they're setting up for. If this had happened to Cripps, I wouldn't be on this show saying give him 5 weeks, giving him 6 weeks, because in my opinion, that is something you see every part of the game. I would expect, whether you're Pendlebury, whether you're Toby Green, whether you're Tom Mitchell, to make that decision at that point in the game. Split-second decision, I expect you to lay some body-on-body contact if you're an inside mid or you're a tough guy. And it is what it is in the end of the day, and it's got to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I think there's some merit in that. If anyone wants to actually come in to this stream and have a chat, ask a question about anything, maybe something we didn't cover last night, feel free. I'm going to put the link in now. Got a few little messages here. Ugur with the $15 donation says, Cripps or no Cripps, the team needs to improve in the next 2 weeks. Spot on. It absolutely does. I know that it can seem doom and gloom, but the reality is there are 2 games left. There is a reality where we lose both of them and still make it. But I think, for the sake of our sanity, we need to get one. Kusa A with the $3 says #free Cripper in the chat. Let's see if that works.
I want to see. Tell you what, do you remember Fremantle a few years ago? Cripper was out, boys rose. I remember being on this show and saying I think sometimes the midfield plays better minus Cripps because they know they have to do it. Do you know what I mean? They know Cripper's method of dealing with pressure. Don't worry, lads. Get on my back. I'll carry you home. He's a trooper. I personally think if he's not there for 2 weeks, you're going to see a fucking lot about these boys. Because I tell you what, if I was a player in that dressing room, I'm the vice captain, Sam Walsh. I'm looking at my players and go, that man there, that he's out for 2 weeks, needs to play finals. Needs to play finals. There's stuck by us. 16 players taking the piss out of us at home from GWS. He stayed. He signed contracts. Tell you what, you talk about Vossi going like this. Oh, next man up mentality. There is no bigger man in our team than Sam Walsh. Back than Cripps, who stood by this team. So they better fucking perform. I'm expecting fire if he's suspended against Demons. I want someone to line fucking Clayton Oliver up and go, fuck you. We're doing this for our boy Paddy. And when Paddy comes back, round 1 of finals, week 1 of finals, the boys can look him in the eye and say, we've given to you what you've given to us for the last 6-7 years.
Yeah. For those asking in the comments, there is no way to watch this stream. Sorry, there is no way to watch the hearing. There is no way to listen to it. Basically, I've got the AFL website up in front of me here, and they're just going to provide written updates, which is what we probably all would be watching anyway and refreshing. So the idea was to just get everyone in a room or in a stream, and we'll just follow it as we go. I've got a few people in the waiting room. Kev, love ya, but tell you what, mate, this is a Carlton stream, so be very careful. Liam, what have you got for us, mate? What's happening?
Very little. How are we?
We're all right.
That's all right. No, I just reckon I think he'll go. He'll probably get downgraded to 1 week, but the boys, they'll come out ready. They'll be hot, and we'll probably lose, I reckon. I can't see us winning the game, but it'll be a very tight contest and probably see more passion out of the boys this week than what we have since the bye.
We'd hope so. I mean, I think Walsh said it today in the press, this is where we want to be. This is what we've been trying to see for the last few years. I think the expectation for us to be in the finals hunt came back in 2020. I think that was the year where it was, maybe 2019, but we know what happened with Bolton. There was the sacking and then T came on. So, it was pretty evident really early in 2019 that it wasn't going to happen. 2020, bit of expectation, and we had a chance. We had a few bad losses at the end. And then 2021, I just remember most of us saying it's got to be finals. So I don't see why it's any different, if not elevated this year.
It just seems every year when we get into the dog days of, anything after around 16, when there is finals on the line, the boys just don't perform. And I guess that's maturity within the group. And it's going to come. It'll eventually come. The damn wall will break where we do hit the 8. Hopefully it's this year. And even if we don't threaten finals too well, it's good experience for the lads come next year when we've got a majority of our players in that key age group where we can push finals and hopefully prelim at least.
Yeah.
As the club keeps saying, they keep using the new niche word. I enjoy listening to niche words from the club. Every administration has them. You have green shoots with Bolton's. Bolton's frothed a green shoot. Teague was, learnings. He loved adding an S, making it a continuous verb. And this year, Voss's one, which is only recent, is opportunity. I enjoy the O word. That was used by 7 times today by Welsh. And I want to hear a different word in there. I'm a bit different to you, Liam. I don't believe years make you better in terms of development. All that's going to happen is these boys get a year older and it gets ingrained. I think this is, I don't like that O word, opportunity, anymore. I think this is here for the taking. And I'd love to hear a little bit of fire from the club. This club's been battered. It's been bruised for what? Since 95 was probably the last time we were relevant. Do you know what I mean? Let's change that a bit more. And I want to see fucking take it back. We have no respect from the AFL. Good. We don't deserve respect from the AFL. We've got Swoop Luke, the little midget, making little banter memes about this club. We deserve them memes, every one of them, because dickheads like me get a little bit excited because we've won by 4 points to someone you've never heard of. We deserve it. Let's take it back. So whatever happens here, I want line in the sand moment from this club. And they come out firing. I don't want to hear anyone say phrases like opportunity. We want to play in front of big crowds. They played through big crowds in 2018 when they were dog shit because people turned up to see the clown show. Let's fucking take it back. This is our league, man. Our league. I'm tired of hearing the club tell me to downplay my expectations because that C on the monogram that guy there's wearing, who's about to get suspended for 2 weeks, means something to some people. Means something. The opportunity these players had was the day that Stephen Silvani or Nick Austin called your name out and said, come into my club. That's a fucking big opportunity because already, unless you're playing for Collingwood, unless you're playing for Richmond, they're proper football clubs. They're not Mickey Mouse fabricated clubs, proper football clubs. So the opportunity there, they've got it. They're playing for Carlton Football Club. That looks fucking good on your CV. Got to be fired up. Don't fire me up.
Yeah. Got you fired up. Just got to be careful there, mate.
What did I say? That was nasty.
But the reality is, mate, this is the first of the situation that this group have been in at this point in the year. Let's be honest. Unless you can argue that late last year we were playing for a final spot, or 2020 with the Adelaide game, but I really do think this is the first of its kind this season, what we've experienced and what we're experiencing now.
And we'll find out a lot about the boys and the coaching staff in the next few weeks to see how they handle all the big games of Melbourne and Collingwood. And let's say if we lose both of them and still scrape into the 8, just to see how they come out in an elimination final.
Well, I'd counter that though. Since this rebuild started, 2016? Let's say that was the first year of the official rebuild when we started going hard in the draft and the trade period. The expectation was always would have to be paid finals because you don't rebuild to be half good. Do you know what I mean? I mean, sometimes I don't doubt that the club might have said, let's just be less shit and spend 5 years rebuilding to be less shit. Wouldn't surprise me. But my argument is they knew this day was coming. They must have done. So my next question is, I agree with you. I think there is something psychologically wrong with these boys. They get close and it gets a bit too tough. But 6 years ago, surely there was an expectation where we need to get a learning system, something in our system and our ecosystem that allows these players to be comfortable. And obviously, whatever we've tried in 2020, 2021, 2022, then the failings are still there. So I personally think it's something as simple as these wordings, these messagings. So I understand why people got upset with Harry and things like that. Because them wordings aren't the kind of thing I want to hear about a player that is about to potentially play 2 of the biggest games in the history of his career. And they've got to go into this game thinking this might never happen again. We could bomb and be 17th, 16th, 15th. Look at St Kilda. They made a granny. You've never seen it. So it can come and go as quickly as it arrived. And that is what they've got to look at.
Liam, what did you make of the comments last night and today?
I haven't seen Walsh's comments, but are we talking Harry on the couch about whether this is a success?
Yes, but I will make sure if you haven't watched it, I don't want to get your opinion if you've only watched the clip because it's a little unfair.
Okay, fair enough. No, I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I've just been working overnight and stuff like that. So, but I did see the snippet. But I do agree that, you know, I can see that this year has been successful in a way. It's not a complete success that we all want and all believe the group are capable of, but to be where we were before the bye, very successful. We haven't put the back end of the season. We haven't put the type of performances in the back end of the season that we should have. But I can still manage to say this season has been relatively successful.
Yeah. I would love to know more detail about why we don't want to talk about outcomes. I mean, there's a clear narrative, or there's a clear instruction, or there's a clear environment where they are focusing purely and squarely on the process, which I understand, I really do. But why do you enter a process? What is the purpose of being in a process? It's to achieve something. And I'd love to know more about why we stray away from what we want to do, which is we want to play finals football. We want to win premierships. So I guess I'm just really confused right now as to why we shy away from those words.
But you see it with every club and every coach. We're like, oh, no, we don't want to mention the F word yet. We don't want to mention the F word yet in finals. You know, you get that from anywhere. Like we're 8-2 coming into the bye, and it's just like, oh, no, we don't want to talk about it, the F word yet. Whereas that, I don't think that's the right mentality to have. Like if you're sitting there going, oh, yeah, boys, like we're going to play finals this year and we're going to give it a real good shake. Like you'd much rather have that mentality and put it out there. Okay, if you don't make finals, bad luck. If you do make finals, well, you've stuck true to your word and you've given it a red hot crack instead of sitting there going, oh, we're going to take it one game at a time and just do what we can control. Like, yeah, everyone does that. You're no different to any other club, any other player.
I genuinely look at it a different way. When I felt sorry for Welsh, because like Terry, we go to sponsors events and you get the privilege of sitting with him down. Welsh is a guy that is very process driven from the conversations I've had with him when he was telling me about his school, and he's always focused on the end goal. And then what's next? That's something that Welsh said that he had to be curbed with at times because he wants to see what's next. He wants to complete one goal, get on the neck. My big worry is every process, every structure, every plan, whether you're doing IKEA furniture or whether you're talking about turning a franchise into a successful one, has an outcome. That's the end goal. But the only way you get through that plan is by having a focus on the outcome. You can't get to the end of the tunnel if you don't know where the end of that tunnel is. You can't just go, right, okay, we're going to get to the end of the tunnel. A good analogy is you don't climb Mount Everest, get to the halfway point, text your mates and go, fuck it, halfway up. I've climbed Everest. You've got to still go. So I think you've got to have a total buy-in, a respect of the process, but also everything is outcome-based. And the two things that worried me in these interviews, these last couple of days, is Mackay saying that success to him was them creating the culture. So he's described process. That's not success. That's just describing the initial building blocks. And the second one is Walsh doubling down on saying we're taking it game by game. That's ridiculous. You have to be looking at the end game. You have to be looking actively at the end game to compare where you are now and how you get there. And if the end game is too easy, you've got to change the end game. So I don't quite believe that. I don't believe what they're telling us is what they're saying internally. Because if it is, I'm telling you now in my position as a development manager, you're fucked. Underline that. Fucked.
It's interesting. No update from the AFL app as to this hearing. They just said the case is about to start. That was 9 minutes ago for those wondering. Liam, anything else, mate? I've got a few others I'm going to get in here. Anything else on your mind?
No, mate, just enjoy the night and hopefully we get a decent result. It is what it is in the end. The AFL's turning softer than what it should, as we all know. If he's gone for 2 weeks, it's going to be a big 2 weeks for a few in our midfield group, and they're going to learn a lot about each other in the absence of Cripps.
Yeah. Spot on. Good on you, mate.
All right, enjoy, boys.
Cheers.
Love you, mate. Love the beard as well.
Thanks, mate. Got a fresh cut like you, mate.
Hey, mate. I'll do the best.
All right, enjoy.
See you, mate. Going to bring in Kareem. Hold it right there for a second, Kareem. So the AFL Council, Nicholas Pane, has confirms that the Brisbane medical report on Callum Archie. Archie was treated for concussion and he's under medical observation and will miss 5 training days and 1 to 2 matches. So that's the latest update. Kareem, what's on your mind, mate?
Well, after hearing that, it looks like Cripps is done to me after hearing that report. But forget about Cripps. I'm real concerned about the midfield lately. I don't know if anyone's realised. I don't think no one mentioned on your fan cams. We can't win a centre square clearance.
I think that happens when you have.
I don't see no support.
Yeah,
because we always used to have a sweeper with Hewitt. No sweeper now. I don't see no support. You saw the fourth quarter when we kicked the goals. I don't think we won one centre square clearance after that. Like, we couldn't get 2 in a row. But when Hewitt was there was protection. Cripps could run off. But I just see no defence in the midfield lately. I mean offense. I'm just worried about that.
Spot on. They played Walsh this week in the Hewitt position, the sweeper, which I find baffling because Hewitt was the provider to Walsh when it was going well. So you want the ball in Walsh's hands in them clickses. I think you make a great point. I personally think that they've lost Kennedy and Hewitt, who are 2 key cornerstones in how that operates. You see Kennedy is the big basher, creates a bit of space for Hewitt to be out the back, that ball go there. And it really does seem that the guys they've tried there have either no inclination of how it works or any understanding of that role. And sometimes, I don't know about you, Kareem, do you sometimes watch it as well and think they overuse it? There was a lot of times this week, I thought, where the ball stayed in that centre for way too long, which only invited the pressure, and we ultimately gave the ball up. Sometimes you watch Collingwood, they just get rid of the ball. If it's not there, get rid of the ball and make the forwards do something with it.
Yeah, the reality is if we make finals, we won't be able to be handing the ball 24/7. There's a moment in time where you're gonna have to kick it, and I don't get why they don't want to kick it. Like, we got 2 Coleman medalists up there with plenty of smalls to crumb. Like, you should trust your forward line, to make a contest or keep it in there. So yeah, you got to you make a lot of sense of it, but I don't know. I just feel like Hewitt just brings confidence with our midfield that no other midfielder in our team brings. I feel like offensively wise, like they know Hewitt. He's not going to be a little flashy, but if you mark up, he's there to help you.
Yeah,
spot on, mate. No, I couldn't agree more. I do think Hewitt is the most underrated player at Carlton. I do think if you actually go, I reckon if you actually sat Val down and said, who's the first name on your team sheet? I reckon Hewitt is very high up. I reckon probably in the top 3 because he knows how important he is to that system.
Yeah, agree. Just one more thing. Why is Welsh not playing half forward anymore? This year, because the best he's played this year has been half forward to me.
Probably because Kennedy and Hewitt were out.
Yeah, but we got Will Setterfield. Isn't he like a 193 centimetre midfielder that was in the 2020 most improved for playing inside midfield?
Yeah, but who would you put in there, Walsh or Setterfield?
Yeah, you put Welsh in there. Yeah, you got a point there. You put Welsh in there.
Kareem, pleasure to have you, my man.
Easy, boys.
See you, mate.
I love Kareem.
I love Kareem. All right, Faz, hello. There's a few updates. Stand by.
Go for
it. So Carlton will rely on additional footage via a handheld camera that the MRO did not have access to when reviewing the incident. The drama.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, dear.
Faz, talk to me, baby.
I love it.
You've made it. You're on the big screen.
Look, I can't see him getting off just quietly.
Yeah. A few more updates. Carlton has put into evidence the transcript from the Willie Rioli tribunal case, which saw Rioli successfully overturn his ban regarding an incident involving Matt Rao. So I'm sure everyone here remembers it. Fucking nasty bump. Luckily, Matt Rao was strong enough to get up and play. I think Rioli was given a week and then it was downgraded on appeal?
Yeah.
Is that what happened? Yeah. So they flagged that. They're going for it. See what happens.
Yeah. My biggest concern was the minute they said 2 weeks, because I'm pretty sure with the system and the way it's set up that it can't be downgraded from 2 to 1. I think it's either 2 or nothing. So as soon as they said 2, I was a bit like, ooh, that's a bit. I'm not too sure if they can go from 2, especially the way with what Carlton are arguing. That the only way to get it from 2 to 1 is if they argue that it was the one below the reckless or whatever it is, and I don't think that's what they're arguing. So Carlton are going whole hog to get him down to 0, and I just can't see it happening. But at the end of the day, it's exciting though, because I feel like for the last month or so we've gone back to Carlton of last year, where it's when shit's hit the fan, it's hey, where's Cripper? He'll get us done for us, or where's Walshy, or Cripper's not there anymore, boys. So some of the boys are going to have to get their big boy pants on and get to work, especially against a Melbourne midfield. But I'd love to see Vossi kind of say, okay, we got our system in place. That's fine. Great. But this week, we are channeling nothing but beating Melbourne this week. System's there, we get it, but we're kind of going to put that to the side a bit and put a game plan in that's going to beat Melbourne. We're not going to beat them contested in the middle. We get that. So let's do something different. Let's beat them out wide. Let's throw a midfield of Chera and Fisher and Walsh in there. If we go and think we're just going to replace Cripps with Setterfield, it's not going to work. So you need to try something different. Throw someone else in there. Get a little bit sexy in there.
Could bring some unpredictability to us. That's for sure.
I agree with you. I think when people go back and praise him against GWS, one of the big praises of Voss against GWS was he found a different way to skin a cat. That they flooded the corridor. We saw Cottrell, we saw O'Brien be a big active part of that. I really think that the time has come now at the club. I would love Voss to say something beautiful to these players and say, look, you know what? Chances are, looking at the ladder, you're probably playing finals, win, lose, or draw. A lot has got to go right for the other clubs to sneak into the A. Go out there and play with freedom. Give it your all. This is literally the best chance from your hard work at the start, and go and play there with freedom, because I think the biggest difference between us and Pies at the moment are in every media outlet. And I know you love the Pies, Faz. That it's all about going out there and going back. Walsh said it today. Got to find a little bit of it. What was earlier, I thought what they did wonderfully in them first 10 rounds, play with heart, play with energy, play with intensity, play for together. They played on passion alone, got out early, went for it. In the second part of the season, we saw what the Pies were like in the first part of the season. A little bit apprehensive, a little bit overthought it, a little bit critical of themselves. I want them to go out in these next 2 games and go, you know what, fuck it. We lose by 40 or we win. And have no fear. End of the day, win, lose, or draw, people are going to criticize them because it'll be the first time in 45 years a side has been in the 8 from round 1 till the end. So go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. A few more updates here. So Cripps is up now giving evidence. There's a quote here where he said, when I jump, my eyes are purely fixated on the ball. Both arms are out and extended to try and take the ball off my chest in the contest. He's now standing up and demonstrating his approach. He says that his eyes were purely fixated on the ball and he was trying to check the drop zone of the ball the entire time.
I like it.
Hard to argue with that. Get him off. There we go.
That's it. Can I just say, if he gets off, this is going to be a very good stream. this is going to be a very good stream if he gets.
It's good. But I think, we all just got to take a little bit of stock at the moment. And it's been a horrendous 2 weeks on socials and everything. Let's take a little bit of stock. We're alive. We're there. I think I read no matter what happens this round, we're still going to be in the top 8, no matter what happens this round, unless I think it's St Kilda needs to win by 150 points. So we're going to be alive going into the last round of the season. Let's embrace that, I think, as a supporter group, as the players, embrace it and say, we're alive. Let's go out. Let's stay alive. Let's, like what Pommy said, we've got that freedom. We're alive. We banked these wins early in the season for this exact moment, for this exact reason. It is incumbent on, and everyone's forgetting Richmond here. I don't know why people are forgetting Richmond. It is incumbent on Richmond, St Kilda, and the Bulldogs to win their games. It's incumbent on them. We've done the hard work. And all these people who say, if you lose your games, you don't deserve to play finals. Well, sorry. Whether you go 12-0 at the start of the year or 12-0 in the back 12, you win the games. And I think we banked our wins. Let the others chase and let them kill each other chasing whilst we just mosey on in, win against Melbourne when no one expects it. And before you know it, happy days.
Well, this time last year, a lot of us were saying, that the situation that we're in right now in 2022 is where we want to be, in that we want to have banked the wins, and be where we are right now. I was pretty confident 12 wins was enough. It technically can be enough. It can be enough. 13 is just a guarantee.
Yeah. Faz makes good points. I would say though, Faz, I agree with you. I love you, and you've gone straight out of the PR book there. You've thrown me, Faz. You've turned on me, my friend. You've turned on me. Thought we were best buddies. But I will say this, that I do think when you go into it with that mindset, and I'm only talking this about a player, you are literally risking saying, right, okay, comfortable, cue on the rack, job's done, 12, happy days, we're in the finals. I do think it's incredibly important that I feel, and I don't know if you agree with me in the chat, and Terry, you may not. I think the last 2 weeks have been very lethargic, very job is done, very one mind on Barley, one mind on Party Town. It didn't seem to me a team that is still very actively in the hunt for the 8. And I want to see that hunger, because you can't just switch hunger on. You can't just switch it on. You can't just be in the zone. There's a reason Federer plays X amount of games before a Grand Slam. There's a reason Tiger Woods spent millions of dollars in getting sports psychologists to tell you how many games he needed to be peak condition for a Grand Slam. The boys can't just turn it on week 1 of the finals. So I want to see that mindset, because last week for me was as close to a final as these guys have played. It was Lions coming out saying we're ready, and Carlton were up for it. So I want to see that in some form now. I don't want Voss, Walsh, whoever they throw out at me saying, we'll do it on the night, Pom. I want to see it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And I think, I guess my comments in regards to that is more about the supporter group. I agree. We've got to demand it. But mate, I tell you what, I've been at home today and I listened to the radio from bloody 7 a.m. till midday. Every Carlton supporter calling up saying we've missed finals. And every post is saying Carlton won't make finals. And every even Channel 7 or SEN posted a poll saying which one of these 3 teams is going to finish 8th. And Richmond weren't even listed there. I'm like, hang on a minute. Why is it all of a sudden a lock? Why is it a lock that Richmond could? I still think Richmond will drop out. I genuinely think Richmond will drop out. Their list, they've got injuries galore. Maybe it's my hatred towards it, but oh my God, why is everything a lock that Carlton are all of a sudden going to drop out? I think we'll beat one of these teams. And even so, I think we'll play well. I think we can play our best and still lose to Melbourne, but I think we'll beat one of them. And even if we don't, I can't see the other teams being perfect in the last 2 games of the season. That's that. But anyway, don't look too far ahead. Let's get Cripps off this thing. Let's get him playing. And let's challenge Melbourne. I mean, they you talk about Carlton having a soft underbelly. It's like they are the flakiest football club in the history of football clubs.
I love it.
We've got him, mate. Melbourne, please.
I love you, Faz. You make my day. You just pot shot every team, and I've got a lot of time for it. I've got a lot of time for it.
I love it. Love it. Faz, we'll get you on in a moment, mate. I'm going to bring in another guest. Cheers, mate. Michael Maloney.
The flakiest team in the history of football.
I love it.
That's one of the best calls ever. Hey, Daniel, we're not allowed to call you Pom anymore.
Yeah, full title, mate, please. Yeah, I've earned the dignity of having all the consonants.
So what's going on with this hearing?
So where we're at right now is the latest update is that the AFL is now questioning Cripps. So he's got up there. He said his bit. They're now questioning him. I'll tell you what. Why can't we watch this? Why can't there be a stream of this? What is? Does anybody know what the reason is?
Because the AFL.
Yeah. I mean, all right, Cripps. Okay, the AFL is questioning Cripps.
Yeah, I can hear.
Cripps has responded, when your eyes are purely on the ball and it's in terms of microseconds, you're thinking about that being the contest. So anyway, what do you think, Michael? What was your reaction straight away?
I thought it was weeks straight away, to be honest. I thought it just looked like weeks. If we're, any football purist would have seen that as just being weeks. But, if he gets off, you show the Rioli evidence, you've got some type. What have you got? What have you got other than just to ask? What have you got other than that? You have to ask the question. You have to. We've got nothing else to lose at this point.
Yeah, they changed it up. You pay $10,000, I think it is. You pay $10,000, and because you can't increase the suspension. You can only just lose, right? Well,
see you then.
All right, mate. All the best.
We love you. I would just like to say, because Terry will tell me off stream, I did use the M word in reference to Swoop Luke. I will retract it. He's small, but I do love Swoop. We are best mates. So he won't take it offensive. You're not allowed to, though. Uncle Pom is, because Uncle Pom will have him out. He'll be all right.
Also, for those of you watching on Facebook, it's time to move to YouTube. You're not allowed to use the word Pom. This is not from us. This is not from me. Facebook will literally ban you for 30 days if you write the word POM.
So there is a hack. Use Pommy in Oz. So this is officially from Facebook. Pom and Pommy are racial aggravated words. So that's what they have told me. So Pommy in Oz evidently is fine because it's not real. But using Pom, evidently some of my people have complained. They were offended. I don't claim them because I think that's meltish behaviour, but there is some people who are offended. So if you tag me, either Dan or Pommy in Oz.
Yeah. Salvo, be very careful, my friend. Injury news. Let's get an update on that. There's no new update on the hearing other than the AFL is just questioning Cripps. Jack Martin, who was subbed out, he's expected to be available this week. Josh Honey, he had a tight calf at the end of round 20. He's expected to miss another week and be available next week. Stocker will be available to play. Jordan Boyd back into running, but he won't be available for the season. George Hewitt they're continuing to work through building up his loads, and we'll assess how he handles it. He will miss the remainder of the home and away season. Cunningham, we finally get an update on Cunners, and that is that he's progressed back into high-intensity running, and the plan is to integrate him into skills training next week. I don't know how he plays a game again this season if that's the case. And then Zach Williams, he's returned to full training, and the aim is to be available for round 23. So, interesting.
That's good. I mean, it's a bit. It's expected, isn't it? There's nothing there that's scary, is there?
No. I mean, the Hewitt one's a bit disappointing. He really has been great for us Like, not just solid, not just good. Like, I think he's been one of the best pickups we've had in a long time.
We just got to keep our. I mean, we're doing it the hard way, and I think that's an intrinsic value to the football club. Because let's just say Cripps gets 2 weeks, no Hewitt, no Williams, all these big name signings. Is it not the most Carlton thing that they would go 2-0 without all them players? They've got a makeshift 22. It would be the most Carlton thing, wouldn't it, in the history of the game, that they do it the hard way. The hard way.
Yeah. Uger is asking, Pommy, just want to confirm your full name, Dan Williams.
Jesus, is this ID check? You with immigration? Yeah. Daniel James Williams. Yes, there's my full title. Born on the 23rd of the 10th, 1985 at 9 Harley Close. There you are. You've got all the details you could want to start your new life.
Love it. All right, Michael's back. Mate, what happened?
I don't have a clue. How are we? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Good. So what's the update? Is there anything so far?
The update is just basically AFL is questioning Cripps. Cripps, when your eyes are purely on the ball and it's in terms of microseconds, you're thinking about that. That's the latest update.
Looks like we've got Buckley's chance. Pardon the pun.
Well,
I can't see him getting off this, really.
Yeah, I don't think many of. Does anybody think he'll get off? Just in the chat.
I think there's a scarce amount. I think.
I think you've got more chance of him getting off than Michael on this show saying that you should put cream in a carbonara.
That's good. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Can his verdict go down from 2 to 1?
No. So the AFL, if Carlton had gone in and declared it was medium contact, they could. It's whatever we're doing. So we're literally putting the effort to have it rescinded. So if the club argued it was medium, they can do it. It's whatever we choose to argue, I believe, is the new 2022 amendment.
Yeah, I'm actually struggling to understand what are we trying to what is that? What is the case that we're trying to make that he should be?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, he should be not cited. Like I haven't really made that clear just yet.
Well, to be fair, we don't know much about this football club, just like we know about their injury list. All of a sudden, now George Hewitt's out for the season.
Yeah, I think I feel like they they managed that one with us.
Oh yeah, that's been a typical Carlton PA job. That. Oof.
Yeah.
They've well and truly put some paper mache over that.
Another update here. Cripps just reiterating about his eyes being locked on the ball. He says when it's in dispute, he's going to go for it. He's not going to try and tap it or wait for Archie to take possession and then tackle him. There's no way I can contest that ball without a collision being there. In the heat of the battle, when the ball's there to be won, I'm going to try and take possession of the ball. I think this is in relation to there was an argument that because there are arguments out there about what he should have done and what the alternative was. And one of them was he should have waited for Archie to win the ball and then tackled. But in the moment, how can you actually expect that of a player?
Isn't the reality of football to go for the ball before your opposition gets the ball?
It's like you're trying to train. I'm not sure what we're trying to do. Are we trying to teach players to make a judgment call on who's going to win the ball, then go? Because then you get to a point of second guessing. And Pommy, you said it before. If Cripps backs out of that contest, waits for Archie gets the handball free, and the Lions run up the wing, we're out here questioning his endeavour. We're out here questioning whether he should be captain. It's very difficult.
I'm of Eddie Jones's philosophy here. The England rugby coach, he's an Australian, and he talks heavily about the high contact. He hates it. He hates the head contact. And he, a couple of years ago, said he prioritizes his players. 1, team first, so they've got to win the fucking ball back. That's priority 1. Priority 1. 2 is look after yourself, making the tackle. And 3, if there's any space left, try and make sure the opposition player can return to the field to play safely. But that is priority 3 in what he teaches his players. So he's like, win the ball back first at all costs, then protect yourself, then protect the opposition player. I think it's very dangerous giving them too much to think about because a lot of this is instinctive. A lot of this is instinctive to them. So Callum Archie would have expected it.
No, you've got a nanosecond to decide whether you should go for the ball, and in that situation, you've got to cross judgment whether I've got to bump the bloke. Now, there's no way in hell that Cripps has gone in there to maliciously hurt the bloke. No way in hell. He hasn't gone there.
Isn't that where this all started? The intent, and now we've moved to the outcome.
I think when you're watching it live and you watch the action, I actually thought it looked a little bit. I'm going to get so much hate for this. I thought it looked a little bit soft when it happened. I just thought he kind of cradled into him, if anything. I didn't think he went for him really, really hard. I've seen much worse where they've gone in hard, bumped, used their shoulder even. He just rolled his whole body onto him. Now, I understand as a 100-kilo man, but yeah, it is what it is. We're so accustomed to it now that it is weeks. You're talking in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. They're looking at that as just an even contest. The bloke comes off, he probably comes back on. But with everything that's happened in the last 10 years, it's weeks now.
I can't even imagine for those watching at home who grew up watching the game in the 80s or the 70s, the 80s, and I guess the 90s as well, what they think about what we're doing here right now.
It'll be a laughing stock.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this weekend. Let's say, for example, he doesn't play. I've just been reading some comments. Square peg, round hole, shit's coming back. Don't like it. Now, let's talk as a realist. What would your midfield be this weekend? You're saying that Stocker's come back, he's fit, he's out of concussion. Perfect opportunity to play in the midfield, wouldn't you think?
In theory, but I don't see how he plays in the back pocket all year and then they just trial him in the midfield this year.
Well, I just don't. I guess the same question can be asked of Paddy Dow then, if that's the case. Trialing all year in the VFL and playing, 2-3 games. I don't know what's going on with it. You can't keep going on with the Paddy Dow train. Simple as that. I just don't want to see it. I'm pretty done with it to be honest. It's not a hate session, but I just don't think he's up to it. Simple. I think even Fogarty, bring Fogarty in as a midfielder.
I think it's important. It's important. It's going to be interesting. 90% of on-ball time Cripper has had. It's the highest in our team. So guaranteed Welsh takes that. Do you know what I mean? You'd imagine. What did you say about Kennedy? Was Kennedy back?
No.
Officially?
No.
Or is he missing?
Yeah.
So he's missing for the year. So that you're going to say that it's going to be. I'd hope they'd go Fogarty because Fogarty for the last 4 AFL games has been Hewitt. So Walsh is going to need that body. And then it's going to be a case, do they give Paddy Dow one more chance? I think they will. I wouldn't personally, but I think Voss will be like, he plays 82% for VFL. Now's the perfect opportunity to give him them minutes he needs on the ball. Yeah. Or the option 2 is they swing it with Setterfield and then let Fisher pinch hit and have more time like they did earlier in the season. It's going to be an interesting one.
I can see Fisher.
Yeah, so a few updates here. The AFL have responded to the evidence from us. So Nicholas Pane from the AFL suggests that in reference to the Rioli-Rowell example, that it's different because that is an example where the collision occurs in the marking contest, which is different to this situation here.
So
we'll unpack that in a sec. Then the AFL says Cripps jumps off the ground, turns his body, and elects to bump Archie. The AFL says Cripps' primary at and immediately prior to the contact was to forcefully bump Archie. So they've argued that he's actually elected to bump. They say Rioli only turns his body to bump at a very late stage, while Cripps does it much earlier. What are we doing here?
What are we doing? I could have opened up a bottle of wine about an hour ago.
What are we doing here? What are we wasting our time?
You've got 600 people live on the stream all laughing at us at the moment.
What are we doing here, mate?
The more I hear the AFL talk about this, it's surely for what surprises me when you watch match review, and I love watching these match reviews, reading them, is the AFL will do anything to make money. Do you know what I mean? Like, literally, if you rang Gillian McLaughlin now and said you've got a cracking business idea and he thinks he can make a quid, he'll throw money at you. But when it comes to MRO, they go out of their way to get rid of the star players. It's almost like Christiansen rubs his hand and goes, great, star player. Let's scrub this smell out next week. Like, that is a weird thing, because you could also counter-argue that if Callum Archie was more cowardly and more scared, he should have braced a lot earlier for impact. Like, when you speak to players, I never remember having a beer with James Cousins, who said the hardest guy he's ever played is Patrick Cripps. But Patrick Cripps will pick you up at the end of it and say, good knock, mate, good knock. Like, Cripps loves the contest, but also respects you for being tough yourself. You ask any player, I bet Callum Archie is probably telling his wife he got hit by Cripps. I mean, that's how he came home. I got hit by Cripps, baby. We've made it.
So, another update here, just in addition to what the AFL argued just earlier. So, their question to the member who is residing over the matter is, was Cripps contesting the ball, and in doing so, were his actions reasonable? And they've doubled down on the fact that they said that Cripps was not trying to mark the ball, or I think that is supposed to say contest. They've argued that he's actually chosen to bump. So there's that. I wanted to read out another quote here from Nathan Buckley, who spoke about it this morning. And he said, there weren't many alternative ways to contest the football. There were plenty of alternative ways to not contest the football. And that's the issue that I have. That is, for players to be clear of this careless, reckless stamp that's put on some of these contests, even some of the tackles that we're seeing under the guise of protecting the head, which I understand and accept, but we are playing a contact game. To absolve yourself of the carelessness and recklessness that sometimes is brought down by a tribunal to explain its decisions, you actually have to not compete. And to not compete, I think, is taking away the essence of the game. This one is very similar to Willie Rioli in that sense. The difference between marking and winning possession is moot. There is a precedent there, and Carlton have every right to go with that precedent. So the fact that the AFL have just said that Cripps was not trying to mark the ball, and they're trying to categorize it, and they're trying to draw the distinction between the fact that the Rioli one was in a marking contest and this was just a live ball that had to be won, may work in our favour. We'll see. But it's good to know Bucks is on our side. Love to see it.
You love Bucks. You love your bit of Bucks action, don't you, Terry?
Love Bucks, mate. Big fan of Bucks.
Big fan.
Terry, you're a lawyer. So your opinion on this, do you see there where they're talking about, where Buckley quite correctly is talking about that they're doing anything they can to protect their head? Do you not see that there is a big hypocrisy in the AFL though? Because only 2 weeks ago we changed the ducking law, the Ginnivan law, which now gives the AFL umpires power really to state if a player is deliberately playing for a free kick. And if they get that wrong, potentially could see a player majorly concussed because they've assumed that the guy is cheating. So I'm not sticking up for Ginnivan, but that Essendon game left a sour taste in my mouth because they deliberately targeted it, and quite rightly so. You saw Essendon's eyes light up and go, I can do anything I want to this kid and get away with it. Do you not see there's a massive correlation between legal and also just taking the piss with changing rules?
Totally. But I think that I used to try and apply precedent in the AFL, but I think we tried it with, what was it? We did this last time. Can't remember. There was a situation where we brought up examples of 3 different bumps, very similar. It really seems to be the flavour of the month with the AFL. That's the truth. Peter O'Farrell, hang on one sec. Peter O'Farrell is now making submissions on behalf of Carlton and Patrick Cripps, and he says there was no bump. Cripps was contesting the ball at all times. I think this is going to be a really crucial point. The AFL are going with the fact that he chose to bump. We're obviously going to try and go for the fact that he's contesting and then, I guess, bracing for contact.
There's so many holes and grey areas and just so many things that are just lining up that you can't really get over. Like, you need Camille Vasquez to get us through this case at the moment. Like, Johnny Depp's attorney would get us out of this. Like they're throwing loopholes and grey areas in every little pocket of insecurity. You know, at the end of the day, what they're saying is don't go for the ball. As simple as that. That's what they're saying. Do not go for it. We don't care if you go for the ball. Just we want to make sure that the person who has the ball doesn't get hurt. That's what our sports become. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad, to be honest. But, you know, look, as I said, on initial view, it was weeks. When you look at it again, really, what is it? I think that the club is already starting to think about what they can do on Saturday night without him, obviously. I think they have to think about it. Whether he's there or not, we've got a game to play on Saturday night. We've got to start priority. I think after tonight, the priority obviously has to stem towards who's going to make sure that Cripps' position is filled this week. You're never going to fill Patrick Cripps as a player if he's not playing this weekend, but who can take over that role as a collective? Now, I'm not saying one player, Setterfield comes in, or Dow, or Fogarty, or whoever it is, as a collective. I'd be telling Welsh to turn around to this whole midfield and say, hey, guys, let's all lift. We all need 15% more. Because they do. The last 2 weeks has been deplorable. And now to have your best player out, poof. This is when you'll start seeing this is actually going to say more about us as a football club over the next 2 weeks. You're going to start seeing the real Carlton and the true grit and determination and the hunger that they have, not only for playing for finals, but to showing something for themselves in the next 2 weeks. If he doesn't play, you're going to see a sense of maturity and galvanising, or you're going to see just they're not good enough. And I have no problems with that. I'd rather see it now.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I'm with you. We are going to find out. We're going to find out a lot about him when the chips are down.
Mate, I think you've nailed. I think you've nailed it, and I think that Cripper out there and not being there are huge motivators for these guys. Because, like I said at the start of the show, Cripper, for me, if I was in the dressing room with him, he's a man that could have up shit at any time and gone played for any 17 clubs at the thing. And he's stuck there. He's doubled down in every contract re-signing. He believes in the project. He believes in the young men that he's leading. This is the time now that they pay him back. If he is out this week, I am looking at every 22 blokes. And I tell you what, you thought I was harsh on the fan cams and at halftime this week. I will triple down on these guys. Because if they don't show something for a man like Cripps, I don't care about Voss. I care about Cripps. He has been someone who can look them in the eyes on a level and say, gentlemen, when it's been good, when it's been bad, I've been here and I have turned up week in, week out. And they owe, not just me, not just everyone here, they have a personal connection to that bad. They owe him week one of the finals. Owe him. And it's probably the only way they'll pay him back.
100%. That has to be the message that the club puts towards all of the young men that go out on Saturday night if he's not there, that you owe it to Cripps that we play that first week of finals. Find a way. No matter how you do it, find a way. I don't care if we kick 2 goals to Melbourne's 1 on Saturday night, or if the following week we kick 3 to Collingwood's 2. I could not care, but you find a way. Lift. For the only person that's actually stood there and been there through the hardest time that we've had of the last 4 to 5 years. You want to say that Murph's been there through the tough times? This bloke, Cripps, has no idea what success is. Absolutely none. And we don't, you telling me as a supporter base, we don't credit that to him. We have to credit it to him. We have to. He deserves nothing but to play finals this year. So I'd be turning around to all of them and saying, boys, lift for your captain. And and the frustrating thing about Sunday, the most frustrating thing is that we lifted for that 3 minutes. That 3 minutes that he showed a bit of ticker. And then poof. But I want to see that for 120 minutes on Saturday night. It doesn't matter about the win or loss on Saturday night for me. For me, it's not about the win or loss on Saturday night. It's about the way that they go out there. And then I can hold faith and know, hey, round 23 comes along, we're going to have a bit of grit and a bit of determination to go stick it to them. It's a 2-week process, I said. It's been.
Yeah. Devron, appreciate you becoming a member. Saw him earlier today, actually. Bumped into him. It was a very interesting meeting. So just to recap, Peter O'Farrell, the lawyer for Paddy Cripps and for Carlton, says that they're arguing that this was not rough conduct because it was not a bump. So the quotes are, the incident occurred in an aerial contest in which players both had eyes on the ball. There was no bump. It was reasonable to contest the ball the way that Cripps did. It wasn't rough conduct. He didn't bump. Therefore, it was not careless. So the reason I guess that they're arguing this is we're trying to get a result where the action is deemed to be incidental.
Well, there we go.
So whether or not that's accepted is the next issue.
Could be
you know what?
here.
I'm going to do a... Michael, you keen to hang around?
Yeah, 100%. Go ahead.
Let's do this, mate. There's 4 of us. Anyone else want to join, by the way? If anybody else does want to join, here's the link.
Wowza.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at us. Hey?
It's like a Kmart game of opportunity knocks, isn't it? Celebrity squares or something like that.
Look, I'll jump off and on mute when the kids come running around saying, "Dad, what are you doing?" So,
How are we, gentlemen?
mate, I reckon he's getting off now.
Wait,
I'm not arguing.
I have a question. Right? As we're waiting for the next update. So earlier in the season, the disaster was we've lost Pito, we've lost Wiedering, key pillars, most important players because their key position irreplaceable. We had Hewitt, we had Kennedy playing in the side, right? Now it's the other way around. We have Wiedering, we have Pito available now. He was sick last week. Who would you rather have? What is a worse situation to have happen? No Wiedering, no Pito, or no Kennedy, no Hewitt? What's more irreplaceable?
Well, it seems at the moment that the Wiedering and Pitternet one is more replaceable.
Well,
Pitternet didn't play on the weekend. You know, and we seem to win without Wiedering. I don't know. It's a big look. I think Kennedy and Hewitt are huge to our team. I think that they're walk-up starters. I think they're genuine near A-graders, both of them.
I look at it this way, and I'm going to sit on the fence here, which is very surprising.
Oh dear.
So I rank those 4 in order of importance. And I say Wiedering number 1 importance, Cripps number 2, Hewitt number 3, Pito number 4. So you're effectively saying 1 and 4 versus 2 and 3. It's even. I actually don't know. I can't split them as far as which is worse. I'd say, all things being equal, I'd rather lose Cripps than Wiedering, but Hewitt on top of that and Kennedy on top of that, with everyone fit, I'd almost rather this be a tribunal case for Wiedering rather than Cripps, with everything. Like, we all of a sudden have all our key position players fit, and now all our midfielders are injured, all suspended. Like,
Mate, that maths there showing that 3 years university degree coming in there. Right? I love that. Well done. I would say Kennedy and Hewitt for me. I think stop the sauce. It's Vossi's mantra, isn't it? Winning centre ball. Walsh doubled down today. See ball, get ball. Playing hard, playing fast, playing intense, playing for each other. I think everything is about the midfield. So I think now we're going to learn a lot about these boys because they've lost. If they lose this, they've lost Hewitt, Kennedy, and Cripps. There is no big bodies in that midfield. So someone has to be a big body.
Would you think that Pitternet just comes straight in this weekend if he's fit?
I think I want to see just Pito play.
Just Pito. Wow.
Just Pito and give Tom a rest.
And would you play Lewis Young as the second ruckman?
Well, Sauce.
You reckon?
Well,
Lewis Young, I really don't have an issue with him playing some minutes in the ruck.
Me either. In theory, me either. I guess we can now that McGovern and Marshbank are there.
Yeah. I thought McGovern was great on the weekend.
Yeah.
Can I throw a crazy idea out? And I've just been thinking about this, and I'd love chat's feedback. You know who I would play? Call me stupid. As the 90% on baller, Jack Silvani. And I'll give you my 2 reasons. 1, he looks good in the ruck because he's the second, third effort. That's why. He's not very good at ruck craft, but when that ball hits the deck, he's putting his head over there. But then the second reason, do you remember 2019 when we wasted his preseason and forced him to be a tagger on Cripps so he could learn? Yep. Tell you what, He's
Oh,
earned the
God.
role. Play him on the ball. Jesus on the ball. You are Cripps this week, mate. Lead these boys home.
Yeah. I can,
Marcelo,
what about-
welcome.
Should have cracked him harder.
Oh, God.
If he was going to cop 2 weeks, he should have copped 10. Fucking prick.
What do
Wait,
you
How the
reckon?
hell
let me
did
go
you
get
get
my
us
water.
two on? How have you got us two on? This is devastating.
Boy, you know, on Saturday night, sorry, let me
Oh,
settle
God.
myself. Saturday night, we're going to get pissed.
Oh,
like a
dear.
G.
Now, what do we reckon? I don't reckon
Well,
he'll get off.
before we
Personally,
go-
I don't think he'll get off.
So just an update here. Wow, the waiting room is full. This is great. So Cripps's lawyer has made a plea to the 3-man jury. What I'm appealing to the members of the jury is that if the ball is in dispute in an aerial contest, if that ball is in front of you and you can get it, you go for it. That's your job as a footballer. Your experience as footballers, you know that. I like that. He's just appealing to them as former players. I like it. Very
Not
smart.
bad.
Bravo.
Who is our lawyer?
Peter
Camille
O'Farrell. We don't have a good record at the tribunal, that's for sure. With our
We don't
lawyers.
get off. Unless there's
Jury.
brown paper bags involved, we're not getting off.
Yeah,
Who's,
Michael.
Who's the,
Yeah, go.
who's the jury?
I don't know. That I don't know.
You know.
Is Michael
That I don't know.
Christensen in there?
We're
No,
screwed.
he's the one that made the report, I think.
Michael Christensen.
Just face it. We're not getting off.
Yeah, but you know what? I'd rather not get off and kind of be hanging out. You know, it's maybe
Yeah, I know. I mean, I just finished work. I want to neck myself, and then I've come to here, and you know, what's Maloney doing in here?
Maloney.
really-
I'm actually. I want to get another guy in. Michael, I'm going to pull you out and bring in.
I wanna go
bring in
in.
Joseph.
Let him.
All right, ciao,
Let
ciao.
him.
Leave him.
There we go.
There
Hey,
he
This
is.
is not good. This is not good. This is not good for us. Nah, it's not good. Hi,
What
Terry.
was your mate? What was your initial reaction? Honestly, when you saw it during the game, what was your reaction?
Weeks.
Yeah.
First thing I said was weeks.
Yeah.
In my mind, I said, and then I was praying and hoping he was going to come back on, because if he was coming off, it was definitely going to get 2 weeks. And I'm like, please bring him back on. Just not concussed, please God. And then the inevitable happened. I'm like, yeah, he'll get done for that. And people are mentioning I remember I spoke to a mate of mine. He was mentioning the Rioli bump, and I'm like, it looks a little bit similar, but there are differences there. So I don't know.
You know how I knew. You know how I knew he did something wrong. You know, after, right? I understand that right after he's like head down, right? And I think it was Fisher who came over to console him, right? But throughout the rest of the game, mate, he was just down on himself. You could tell it's like it was guilt. The rest of the game, I felt guilt from him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know he was going for the ball, but it didn't look good. I thought he'd get 4 weeks, like 2 to 4 weeks in that range. And the outcome, because he got concussed, well, fuck, you're fucked now.
Yeah, concussed, 5 days off training. I think they said he's out for 1 to 2 weeks. So it's just severe, you know.
They'll just match it.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, they've done the bonus bet offer. However many weeks he's going to be out for, that's how many weeks we're going to cop.
Yeah, true.
What was everyone else's first reaction when it happened?
Let us know in the comments. Also, we're 1 sub away from 8K, just low key.
Huge.
Sub. Joe, sub your dog.
I've subbed, mate.
Unsub and resub.
Oh, Pommy, we've lost Pommy.
Where's
Joe, what else is on your mind, brother?
I thought as well. Initially, it was a bit more of a, you know how the leader in the club they try to clean someone up to fire up the rest of the team kind of thing. One of those, the black ears that they like to do. I thought it was a bit of that into it as well, but because he's trying to fire the rest of the team to wake up.
How many points down were we at the time? Was it like 30?
It was
6 goals.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, if you're gonna like do that stuff, do it from the word go.
Well, correct. Yeah.
Set the tone. Like, go out there. If you want to be physical, set the tone. Go from the first bounce. And just not like go out there and crack people. But I'm saying like, be hard, be physical. It's gone. We've lost it. I don't know how we've lost it. Well, I know how, but Maloney hates the word. Paul keeps using it. But mentality.
Yeah. That's it.
Is.
Yeah.
Because we've shown that we can dismantle teams.
It's not there. It's not there.
I don't know, man. And then, like, you'll see later tonight, I don't know if people stick around or whatever, in the jumper punch that I even made a TikTok about it. That, I mean, earlier in the year, remember when Boyd got flattened?
Yeah.
And, you know, you had, what's it called? It was Lewis Young who got tubbled by Yasulaki. He got, and then all the boys went in, cracking heads, mate. Skulls were getting hit. And then on the weekend, Wiedering got smashed from Charlie Cameron from behind in the back of the kidneys. Mate, the players just pushing him. Like, it's quite evident that, as you say, there's something not right in the club.
Yeah, there's just a disharmony somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
You just sense it.
And I said to the boys, even the Williamson thing, I know it's just an isolated case, but I don't know, man. A player just shouldn't be leaving mid-season and going to another team.
Was there any official or anything about that came out? Because my idea was that he just wasn't going to get a gig, or he wasn't good enough to get a gig.
Yeah, but you don't leave mid-year. Like,
yeah,
you don't throw the towel in mid-year on your team that is stuck by you through injury as well.
Yeah.
And when was that? When was that, by the way? What round was that?
What's that?
That Williamson thing.
After Byron.
It was about a month ago. Yeah, they said that there was some personal issues that he's dealing with. Look, there's a lot that we don't know. I'll tell you other things.
Can only speculate, but
even tonight, why are we only getting these updates? There's got to be more than what we're like. Even with this hearing, we're only really being drip fed what's being said there, and it's just. I find this fascinating in 2022 with all the technology we have available.
Yeah,
we can't have access to a transcript. Yeah, what are they hiding?
A live feed.
Twitter usually have the most up-to-date kind of stuff. That's why I try to go on that. But even then, it's like you should really have like a live stream or AFL radio or whatever.
Mate, I reckon they should have a live stream. Well, they had it for the Johnny Depp case. Michael Maloney loved that. He loved it. He was on it every day. But like, how come we can't have one for Patrick Cripps?
Well, the Tim Kelly one went out for 2.5 hours, and then eventually they came to a decision or something along the lines of that. So this is probably drag out till halfway through the jumper punch.
Yeah,
mate, that's a long one. That is. Oh no, who's coming now?
Is it Paul, the grand entrance?
No, I'm just saying, speaking of, ladies and gents that are watching, 8 p.m. tonight, the jumper punch will be airing.
It's a. I get a bit fiery.
Do you just?
I mean, like, yeah. Paul is Mr. Mentality, and Rocco. Rocco's rant's good. You'll like Rocco's rant. Yeah.
Amazing.
No, I don't know.
I'm gonna bring in a couple more.
Yeah, you go. You can take me out anyway. I'm gonna go home. I'll be in the live comments tonight for the JP, and hopefully Patrick Cripps gets off. I don't want to be like a pessimist, but I reckon he will.
Can we in the comments not put Charlie Curnow in the midfield, please, or Doherty in the midfield? I saw that. You might as well put Durden at fullback. Just please don't mention these things.
Wait, does he play this week, Durden, our man?
I hope so. I hope he plays.
Boy,
he will play.
All right, lads.
You know who they're going to put? Plowman's going to go through the middle this week. Plowman.
I can't wait.
Nah. Who knows, man? Let the coaches make their decision, and on Saturday night they should be going out there to win the game of football. Simple.
Yeah, no, true.
You know, who cares if it's Melbourne? Why can't we beat them?
Well, agreed. I don't like the fact. I mean, I'm not confident in all of that, and I'll give them
Me
respect.
either. I'm not confident, but why can't we go out and beat them? It was like Geelong. Oh, you know, when we got pants by them, it's Geelong. They're going to go in the flag, and why can't we beat them?
Yeah, true.
So you gotta be winning mentality. You gotta just go out there and win. I thought this year was different, but fuck, what do I know anymore? So I'll let you guys go. You bring in some other people.
I will. Love
right.
you, mate. See you
We
later.
love everyone. Take care. Watch the Jumper Punch. Love everyone, and keep woofing. Keep woofing.
See you, bro. See you, Joe.
Beachy.
Chris Pom's back. I don't know where you went. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Yourself?
I'm good. One moment. We have a new update. 11 minutes later. So, more quotes from Peter O'Farrell. This was a very even contest with milliseconds in it. The consequences of impact do not determine the reasonableness of an action. Concussion is a serious issue in sport, but it is not to be explained away by blaming players all the time. On occasion, there will be injury. Players can and do get hurt.
Okay.
Beachy, your internet is not good right now. I'm just going to pull you out for a sec. Jimmy.
Hey.
How are you, mate?
Oh, mate, could be better. This last part of the season driving me up the bloody wall.
Yeah. Well, they're just over an hour of evidence, the jury is off to deliberate. Will Cripps have to serve the 2-week suspension handed down, or will he be free to play on Saturday night? So just for those watching at home, there is no situation where Cripps gets reduced to 1 week. He either gets the 2 weeks upheld or he plays on Saturday night. So just for those at home. Anyway, Jimmy, Pom, talk to us. What's up?
Good, man. Good.
I'm just hoping they can find at least a draw out in these couple games.
Just one draw.
I want to see Sydney knock off Collingwood, and then at least us beat them or draw with them to knock them out of the top 4. That'll be beautiful going in.
I actually want Collingwood to win this week so that they're full of confidence next week and that they're due for a loss next week. I don't want their reality check coming this week. I want it coming next week.
No, I think it'll be a tough one against Collingwood.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's super exciting. I mean, part of me, I know this sounds horrible, but I really want to see these boys in a baptism of fire. I would love to see Pies win this week, going against us, knowing that game potentially, should we lose this week to Demons, they could do a number on us. And I think that would be a wonderful way for these boys to prove everyone at that stage will doubt them. The media will jump on them. Pies will be going in top 2 lock. If they beat Carlton, potentially they miss out on the 8. That is when the boys are back to the wall. And I would love to see them come out and then prove everyone wrong, because that is what makes this sport great. And I can't wait to see it. So come what may, I don't look at other results. I'm the worst person to ask. I don't hope Collingwood lose. I don't hope Richmond lose. I'm all about be a good team and hold it in your own hands. That's what good teams do.
Yeah, that's the truth. I mean, I honestly don't see Richmond dropping out. I can see them sticking around in the 8, unfortunately, because I was hoping they'd finish 9th this year. But no, I think the boys could pull one win off. They could do it. I mean, we've seen them pull together in past years without Cripps playing, and we didn't have any Hewitts, and we had T coaching at the time as well. So there's possibilities there. Question is, if Pidney can turn it on, we could see something. JSOS in the midfield, maybe. Yeah, that could work. I wouldn't put Plowman in the midfield though, like Mars was suggesting.
I mean, look, the reality is, if he doesn't play this week, Cripps, regardless, there is going to be someone, or there are going to be more than one person. There's going to be more than one person that is thrown into the deep end. We've been seeing that all year to good effect this season. Apart from obviously the last 2 weeks, they haven't been good. But for the majority of the year, every time we feel like we're screwed because Wiedering's been out or Pito's out, and we've had to put guys like Lewis Young or Tom de Koning into the deep end, they've shown good signs. So, look, we can't. I just don't think we can write it off right now with 2 games to play.
I'd love to see Stocker come in and make an impact, because we saw what he could do last year, and he was flat this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be great to see someone like him come in. And then if we do make finals, some of these guys actually fire it up well for those. I'm not expecting a grand final win, but, you know, if we get one finals win, that'll be good.
Mm.
Mate,
Yeah.
Someone's got to stand up, haven't they? And that has been Voss's mantra since, round 1? When we lost Welsh and he started that catchphrase, next man up, next man up. We've kind of lost that the last 2 weeks from Vossi himself. He hasn't kind of drilled that home. No Cripps, tell you what, I'm looking at Jack Silvani. I think he's the man for the job. They keep calling him the heart and soul. The club love pushing that message. He missed out. He came back in. He would be one guy I would trust in the next 2 weeks to lead them boys in. Let's see it. You've done the hard work. That's the one thing Diesel talks about. He always puts his hands up. He's the first to volunteer to do any job, whether it be dirty or whether it be pretty. Throw him on the ball. Let's see what he's about. Do it for the. He's got his whole family history here. He can write his own chapter. I think that's it. Voss said chapters. This is a chapter of the book. Harry Mackay said it yesterday. Jesus needs to write his own chapter, and this could be it. Imagine being the midfielder that got you into finals when you had no midfielders. Imagine being able to say that. That puts him in the Silvani name. That's what the Silvanis did. They did things.
I mean, speaking of Mr. Mackay, though, I mean, our forward line's been pretty flat the last few weeks, and we've kind of been worried about the midfield. But the question is, can the forward line step it up the next couple of games?
It was interesting to hear the comments from Lee Matthews saying that we needed another avenue to goal, even though we have last year's Coleman medalist and probably this year's Coleman medalist. So
I don't know. I've not really been convinced on Mackay this year. I mean, yeah, he's had a couple of okay games. I mean, Curnow has been pushing a lot of that there, but I don't know, him flopping around, and that really worries me. Compared to what he was playing last year. You know, he's a big guy. He shouldn't be falling over that easily. He should be able to take those marks. I mean, yes, we all hate the drop punt check side goal business. That's something he's got to work on. But he just struggles to get his hands on the ball, just in a contested position a lot of the time.
No, I feel you. I'm going to get Paolo and Rocco on. Jimmy, it's been a pleasure to have you on here, mate.
All right, thanks, guys.
Cheers, mate. All right.
Here's trouble.
Stand by. This will be interesting. Here they are.
Lads, how are we?
We are. This. I'll tell you what. This coverage is absolutely putrid. Absolutely putrid. This coverage. I've got 4 Twitter profiles up with quotes. I've got 2 separate live feeds, and they've all got nothing for us.
I think you saying before that we should have some sort of live stream or something. I think it's 2022, isn't it?
Even if you don't want to put a video, just let us listen to it like a radio. Let's go back to the 80s if we need to.
Oh, it's madness. It's absolute madness. Look, I think you'll still get 2 weeks, but I mean, I was looking at what the AFL were arguing and saying that I've never seen, and I'll keep it short and sweet, I've never seen someone elect to bump with their eyes on the ball with outstretched arms about to grab the ball. I've never seen a bump like that. So that must be the newest bump we've seen in Aussie rules.
They could have shot themselves in the foot, I hope.
Maybe. I think you have to use the Willery-Oley case as your precedence for getting off. But look, regardless of if he gets off or not, I think there are bigger issues at play over the last 2 weeks. And, you know, I've made that pretty clear with regards to fag cams and some of my Twitter rants and all that. But I think Pommy and I were sort of discussing today that I'd love to know what our win-loss is without Cripps, because I think when was the last time we actually played without him, regardless of the Gold Coast game? I think we actually beat Collingwood, didn't we?
Yes, and Freo as well, I think.
Last year, maybe. Yeah. Interesting.
Bravo, Paolo.
Thanks, mate. Rocco, what did you think?
First of all, with the Cribs, it doesn't matter 2 weeks, 4 weeks, man.
Correct.
He had to do what he had to do, man. That's it, man. Like, I would have done exactly the same thing. If he didn't do that, I would have been disappointed, right? Yeah. AFL are a bunch of dogs, mate. Really, is this what the game turned into, first of all? And the second thing is, what's this now? We got to stand up this week. What happened 2 weeks ago? We had Cripps for the last 2 weeks, and we've done Stugatz. That's what we've done. Now, all of a sudden, they've all got to lift this week. What happened to the other weeks? If that's what we need to lift, we are a disgrace. And the other thing, Harry, they can get rid of him now, because if that's his attitude, he's not worth a bar of shit. That's what he's worth. That's what he's come up with. And I'm telling you now, when they go on those bloody shows, right, mate, I've been driving, listening to this. I've been hanging out to get home to say this. Listen, if on those shows, they get given those questions. He knew exactly what was about to be asked. I'll be surprised if that was a surprise question on him. Now, there are two things. If he said that on his own account, it's stuff. And if the club made him say that, they can get stuff too. Because that is a disgrace. There's no way that he should have said that. I don't care, man. You're in the finals, and if we make it, it's still a success. Something's wrong with this club, mate, and it goes deep, mate. There is no way he should have said that. And I would have dropped him this week. Stuff him. Mate, this is a joke, mate.
I've got a question after all that, Rocco. How many weeks do you think Cripps will get?
I don't know. They might let him off because they want him to play. They want Carlton to play. I don't know. Like, it really, who knows? It's a lottery out there, man. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. We're going to win the last round anyway. I've already said it.
Yeah, that's it. We're going to win the next 7. We're going to win the grand final. I do realise that. But come on, man. You've got to go out there with a mindset. See, if he's got that attitude now, what happens halfway through the Melbourne game or 3/4 through the Melbourne game and we're almost there? What happens? Does he go, this is a bit too hard, but, it's a successful year anyway. And does he give up then? Or does he give up in the Collingwood game? Or does he give up just after that? Like, he's already given up by the sounds of it. Now, I hope they come out and destroy him, but come on, man. Look, this is all starts up here, man.
I agree.
Yeah, we spoke about it before. Even Walshy today sort of reiterated that we haven't thought about the outcome and we're not going to start doing it now. We spoke about it before you guys were on earlier in the stream, and the unwillingness to talk about outcome and purely on process.
Yeah.
Pommy, you spoke about this earlier as well. It's
Come on, why can't we talk about outcome? What's wrong with wanting to achieve the best? And if we fail, we fail.
Exactly.
But at least go for the best, man. They sound like everyone's trying to protect themselves from getting hurt. This is the society we live in now. Like, what's wrong with you, mate? I want to win the grand final, and that's it. That's it. Nothing else. And when you're 8-2, if we don't make the finals, we are a complete. Actually, if we finish 8th, we're almost a failure. That's how they should have been thinking about it.
Pommy, what was that thing we looked at today? And I don't know if you saw it, Terry, but there's a Twitter page that responded to the Sam Walsh press conference today, Dr. Blue, where, Walshy made mention that, we've got to respect the process and we've got to go through the process, and, the outcome, is second to that. And then this guy, Dr. Blue, actually summed this up beautifully. He said, how can you have any respect for the process and commit to the process if you don't care about the outcome? It was just brilliantly put. So anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Where are you? Where are
Me,
you, Paul?
I'm in the car. I'm in the car at the moment. I'm in the car. I'm about to leave.
What's the matter with you, man? You look like you're stalking someone.
I've got one word for you: mentality.
That's it.
And I'll leave it at that. I'll see you at 8 p.m.
All right, lads.
Ciao.
Yeah.
Ciao. Ciao. Rock, anything else, mate?
Nah, that's it. I'll just give you an early rant. That's it. That was just an early rant just to get it off the chest. But I don't know what you're going to do if the result doesn't come in 10 minutes.
Well, yeah. Fuck. I mean, the jury's deliberating.
It was going to go for 2 hours.
Started at 6:15. I thought it's not going to take an hour and 2 hours to get this thing done. Like, they're going to say their bit. They're going to go back. They're going to come out. And they're going to say it's 2 weeks still, and then we'll be done. Yeah. That's what I thought would happen.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll see what happens. Anyway, if I suppose we'll keep them updated in the comments, I suppose. But so there's still nothing new.
Negative.
Nothing new. The jury's deliberating, so we wait.
All right. All right,
mate. We'll see you in 9 minutes.
See you, mate. Bye.
See ya. Fazola.
Yo, mate, this is awesome. What a coverage.
Yeah, this is fun. Quentin with the 8 says, Terry, lethal means other forwards to be of use in the forward line and not just directly using Charlie and Harry as the only options. Yes. Well, I'm glad you brought it up. Now that McGovern's got Setter in the back line, is it time to do it and switch him to the forward line? Pom, is that an option?
I mean, it is an option. I mean, let's be honest, though. I mean, McGovern, in my opinion, has probably been close to best on the last 2 weeks. I have to applaud his effort, even when we were getting battered. Nothing is too high. Nothing is too hard for him. And I think if you could replicate that in 21 other players, I don't think you would have seen the last 2 weeks. But, I mean, for me, I agree with Lethal. I think he's spot on. I think the biggest problem with Carlton, and I think to an extent of Harry strikes me a very Lionel Messi type player. There's a great interview with Iniesta who used to say that Pep used to tear his hair out because Iniesta would just randomly pass to Messi, even if it wasn't part of the system, because he said that if Messi didn't get the ball in the first 20 minutes, he would check out. And it was something he established. And I think Harry is very similar to that. I think Harry, if he's not in early, takes a while for him to get going. I would like to see it. I was very disappointed with Jack Martin this week. I thought his leading down the high half forward flank was pathetic. And I think that is where Lethal's saying, Carlton, you look in the first 3 rounds, Carlton looked so strong. When they came through the corridor or they went down the wing and they hit up a target, 65 out, 70 out, and then got the ball, and then they went with them deep entries. And you saw Harry bring it to ground for Durden's goal there. That was very good. That's what Carlton needs to do. I think that's where Harry does his best work, when it's really deep and they're pegged back. To be fair, the last 2 weeks, the ball inside 50, I don't care if you're Erling Haaland, you'd struggle to pop in a goal. And at the moment, I think Erling Haaland is the second coming of Christ after what I saw this weekend.
Yeah. Look, I think with the whole forward thing, I saw an interesting stat during the week. It spoke about, so Carlton's first 11 rounds, we were scoring freely, but we're also bleeding goals down the other end. And then the stat that really blew my mind was, this was before the Brisbane game, obviously, we were number 1 in the comp in the last 10 weeks for scores against, as far as the lowest. We were averaging only 70 points against, and it was like number 1 in the comp. But, sorry, I think it was even lower than that, but we were only scoring 70 or something like that, which was way lower than what we were in the first half. So something had shifted, whether it's we changed our game plan, whether we've been found out, whatever it is. But first half of the season, we were scoring but conceding. Now we're not conceding, but we're not scoring. So it was an interesting stat that I saw, and I don't know. I feel like the small forwards are the issue, in my opinion, because you look at, Melbourne, Brisbane, you think, okay, Wiedering towed up Danaher and all that. But then it's the like of McCarthy gets off the chain and Charlie Cameron, and then this week against Melbourne. I've got no doubt Ben Brown and whoever 195 centimetre flop they're going to have in their forward as well are going to get beaten. And then it's like a Pickett and Fritsch and Neil Bullen. They're the ones that beat us.
Yeah.
So I think Carlton, when you look at Carlton, you say, hey, if we can at worst break even with Harry and Charlie, well, Carlton have got no other options, because as much as I love the Durden, Motlop and Owies, I think at best you're probably going to get 5 goals combined from them at best, where you probably, if we can turn that to 8 goals combined from them, we are a very, very different team.
Yeah, I think that's clearly the next layer for our small forwards, because the pressure is solid. Definitely that'll improve with time. It's been a very young small forward brigade for the most part of this year, given that Always has missed as much as what he has. I definitely did not expect to see Jesse Motlop this much this year, but I think he's been a little shining light amongst all the others. And then, I think with Durden as well, who's in his second year, I think, it's obvious the next layer for them is to hit the scoreboard while still keeping up the defensive pressure that they have. I definitely have noticed they haven't been at the drop of the ball anywhere near as well as what they were at the start of the year. I don't know if there's a stat for that, Pom, but
here you are.
Oh, perfect. There we
Look
go.
at this, mate. I come prepared. I mean, come armed with banter and stats. So what you're looking at here is post by the change. So just imagine after 8 and 2 happened, something happened. So interesting numbers to look at. Tackles inside 50, down on average 54%. This is what you've just said there, Terry. Hard ball gets. So they are real interesting start. It's my favourite misconception in the AFL. Toughness. You hear it a lot. Someone's tough. Hard ball, ground ball gets are 2 of the leading indicators of that. And this is a key cornerstone of Michael Voss's system. It shows second, it shows third efforts, it shows putting your head over the ball. Down by 17.5. And that's the differential. That's huge. Carlton were ranked top 3. Now ranked bottom 3 for that. Turnover differential. We were number 1 in the comp between 10 and 16. Since then, we are now bottom 3. That is what Faz was just alluding to in our defensive abilities. Clearance 1.4 down. That's okay. Uncontested marks. This is a huge one. Carlton's ability. You remember there was a start. David King said it, and I had a go at him. 82% of the time, Carlton tapped the wing. This was partly from this start because then they go back into the corridor, which is why you saw the small forwards hitting the scoreboard a lot more. This is an interesting one. Rebound 50 to inside 50. Their ability to transition the football down by 10%. And the efficiency, obviously, there at the bottom, 6%. They have real noticeables in the Voss game plan. And I want you to go back to the start of the show where I said Collingwood and us as a switch. They were shit at the start. They'd finished strong. Carlton are the opposite. That, for me, is a clear indicator of our pressure. All them stats really are intent, effort. And I think Carlton now are attacking. You see almost 99. It was 99%, I believe, this weekend, attack the wing with their ball. That is the safest area in the AFL. So that is showing to me clear mental state problems there, that they are playing safe and they need to find a way of going back Hail Mary football.
Yeah.
That's it. Don't know what more I can give you, lads.
I love it. I love it. I'm just hoping that we get a verdict in the next 30 seconds so we can celebrate or cry, and then we can just say, righto, off to the jumper punch. I got Beachy in here. One sec. Let me get him in.
I love Beach.
Beachy in the study where he should be at all times when he comes on this channel.
Thanks, Terry. Yeah, exactly. Right here. Right here. Go good, boys.
I have nothing else for anyone right now. But actually I do. 8,038 subs. So appreciate that. Get the 8K. Got to get to 10 before the season ends. I know we can do it. What's more likely, 10K subs or Cripps getting off tonight?
10K subs.
Straight in. Stuff it. I'll go the opposite. Cripps getting off.
Love it. Love it.
Love that.
Anything else from you, Beachy? Faz, any other thoughts?
Look, other than just get it done. Get it done and keep giving me banter on Twitter, everyone. And it's just living the dream. And the Blues will get it done and Cripper will get off. Even if he doesn't, we're winning on Saturday because Melbourne, like I said, they're the flakiest team of all time. Happy days.
Love it.
I'd like to share your confidence, Faz, and I'm hoping that Cripps can get off. There didn't seem to be much in it when I first saw it, but, clearly I'm old school, guys. So, here we are. We're in the modern times, and I'm thinking like an old school back in the 90s, early 2000s when it comes to footy contests.
Love it. Lads, I'm going to let you go. Have a good night.
All right. Cheers. Have a good one.
And then
I've got to give a huge shout out. I've spent a lot of time with young Faz, and that is the longest I've spent with him, and he hasn't abused a town in Australia. So I am shocked. Well done.
All right. What do we got? Ben with a $2. Congrats. Thank you, mate. Uger with a 31. Thank you very much. 8K. Would love an update anytime soon. It'll be great.
Mate, I've got more things open than when I was 13 and got internet time in a quiet house. I tell you, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing.
No.
Like, we are in 2022, people. We can get a live stream from the Mars rover. And you're telling me 20 minutes down the road they're having a deliberation and we can't have it. They can't be deliberating that much.
Mm-hmm. It can't be this difficult. Unless the longer this goes, does that play more into our hands, do you think?
You're the lawyer, Taz. You've only got to listen to my accent. I rely on lawyers. You defend people like me.
I actually think the longer this deliberation goes for, the better it is for us.
Tell the people at home, what are they actually doing? So are they actually deliberating? When you deliberate, explain to me what deliberation is.
Well, it's pretty straightforward. You're just taking into account all of the evidence. I have a feeling, and I don't know this for a fact at all, they must be making phone calls. They must be. There's only so many times you can watch the replay. I think they're having a serious high level discussion around what the impact of the decision will be. It's crazy that they've tried to really completely discredit the Willie Rioli situation. I think that was a really interesting way to rebut. And I actually think the way that we argued that he seriously didn't bump, I think we placed the argument very well, that he didn't bump. To be honest with you, when I looked at it, I thought he did bump. That's just my lens. I thought he did bump at the very end of it. And that's, there's not much I can add. There really isn't much I can add.
I find, when they come at that bump thing as if the bump's bad, you see probably 20, 30 bumps a game. Some of them injure players when they're fair bumps and not even cited. But also some of them bumps are a little bit criminal, but they don't get cited. I just find that bumping thing is a grey area. Do you know what I mean? It's like Faz isn't here anymore, but we played decent level football when we were kids. Round ball. That's like me nipping a centre-back's armpit in a corner. It shouldn't happen, but it does. But there's a chance I could nip an artery and kill someone. It's a rare occurrence. So them little things, I don't think you can. I don't like it because I think when you're saying now a bump can get you into trouble, if a player doesn't shepherd, what do I do on the live stream? Start punching walls and stuff. So don't do that to the game. It's a weird one, isn't it? It's a real weird one.
Yeah. Well, earlier, with these bump matters, earlier in the piece, it's usually been around going past the football and actually bumping. And this is actually, we're starting to see the grey area absorb all sorts of contact that's happening in this sport. I don't know. I don't want to give everyone hope, but I'm getting I'm getting good vibes at the moment.
I
don't want to build I don't want to build everybody up, but I'm getting a little excited. I'm not going to lie.
Me and Terry are veterans of doing this. Like, I've spent more time probably with Terry one-on-one than I have my wife in the last 3 years. And when Terry gets like this on a live stream, I just want to remind you all of that 2020 trade period. He had a good feeling all stream 3, 2, 1, and we traded no one. So I can't give you any indication if it's good or bad.
I'm actually curious. Who was here? Who was here in 2019 trade period when we counted down when we thought we were getting Papley, and Sauce never made it into the room, and we literally counted down from 10, only to have no Papley.
I can remember we were so convinced. Like I had, you know what? Not many people know this, but I had an actual Papley doll like this. Ready? I had a Papley version of one of these ready for it. So yeah, that was the worst day ever, wasn't it? That was the way. I can't hear Mad World. Do you remember someone made a meme of us? Mad World.
We have an update.
Oh,
the update is that the jury is still deliberating, and we shouldn't be too long now.
Yep. It can't be that. Like honestly, I don't want to downplay law because you're good. This is your domain, but it can't be that hard because everyone else has done like the hard work, haven't they? The lawyers have done the hard work. Like, surely it can't be that hard to be convinced. Is it a bump or is it not?
Well, this is why I moved into YouTube, mate, because I couldn't handle the weight.
You've got more patience than me. I'd love to see Terry as a legal eagle. I'd love to see it
in another life, mate. In another life.
Like, I could see you. I could see you. It is weird that the coverage of this, for those watching this, we're probably giving you a lot more actually than doing that.
I'll be honest. I really expected this to be a 45-minute thing. I did not expect to be going on now.
Mate, I thought I'd be having a chicken carbonara with cream in it and DMing Michael Maloney pictures of it and him hating me.
Yeah. Yes, Waldy, I have worn the wig before. We should mention this. The Dohertys are having a baby. For those of you who are not on Instagram, the Dohertys are having a baby. Very exciting for Natalie and Sam.
Congrats. And
yes.
Hopefully it's a girl or a boy. And, well, it will be one of them. Stupid Pom. Hopefully it's going to be the next father-daughter, father-son. Can't wait for that.
Just telling you, mate. The longer this goes, the better it is. I'm telling you.
Don't build me up. Come on, it's not fair. I know we haven't done this for 2 years, but don't.
The Tim Kelly matter was done very quickly because they got on with it. The evidence was clear, and away they went.
Mate, you're the expert in this. I'm just the nuffy with bad banter in this case. This is your stream. I'm hoping you're right.
It can't
also,
be that
I suppose we should as well. Condolences and valet to Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah,
as well. She's a lifelong Carlton fan, and sadly is no longer with us. You can blame Aaron Ramsey for that because the curse continues. Every time Aaron Ramsey scores, someone famous dies. So a lot of hate Aaron Ramsey's way on that one.
I've actually got a a post ready just in case Cripps is freed with the caption "Freedom."
I'm
ready.
I wish one day, just for those in the chat, Terry prepares these things just in case. I reckon there's some that have never been released that are absolutely the bollocks. Like I would have loved to have seen what we had planned for Stephen Cornelio. We should release that one day.
I've actually got a photo. I don't know if I'll post it. I don't know if I'll ever post it. I've actually got a photo when we thought we were getting Clayton Oliver, and it's like him in the Carlton jersey, and it's like, welcome.
Mate, I went through my old laptop the other day, and some of the stuff there in that Papley Cornelio era is quality. Like, I look at it now and it actually depresses me to think I was that excited.
Still waiting, ladies and gents. Thanks for those that have tuned in. I think at this point, if you've tuned in from the start, you kind of just got to hang on. The jumper punch. Sorry?
930 people watching this.
930 people watching, waiting. It's actually been good. Imagine doing this on your own, just sitting on the couch, refreshing.
I do this on my own, Tez. Every weekend with these guys in the chat.
True.
There's usually more abuse.
I'll tell you what, I don't know how you do watch-alongs during a game. And I'm not the right person to be watch a game during a game.
There is something deeply mentally wrong with me. And that is my answer. That last 2 weeks, honestly, there's a lot of names in the chat who have helped me through it. I'll tell you, I don't know how I do it sometimes, but I mean, you do it what you do, don't you? For love.
Of course. What else is on our mind? Why don't we open up for some Q&A while we wait? Does anybody have a question? What have we got?
I ask some good. Usually at half time, that's where I rant when we're losing. Usually at half time, someone asks a question that tips me over the edge. Yeah. Now's your chance to bully Terry.
Come and get me.
Put him over the edge instead of me.
No one's actually here for the result, just for the chat. That's interesting.
How can Pom watch without the sound? Have you heard Australian commentators?
True. I've got one for you. I get asked this pretty much every game I go to. Can you please enlighten the people as to why you don't go to games?
Yes. I mean, obviously, firstly, last year when we had COVID, a lot of you reached out post-COVID and said, for some reason, watching my dumb face and reactions gave you a connection to life. And I really embraced that. My father-in-law can't go to games anymore as well. So it's really, honestly, I get the best vibe. So don't feel sorry for me. The most fun I have is actually with you guys. So that might say a lot about my life. But I really embrace it. I think it's a part of the community. And honestly, I've got a better enjoyment from the games, creating our atmosphere for you interstate fans and you guys that can't go to games than I ever have done going to the game. So as sad as that sounds, that is the answer. I wish there was a cool answer, but honestly, it's heartfelt. I enjoy it. I love spending time with each and every one of you, even the ones who were horrible to me. Still like you. That might wind you up. Still like you.
Yep. Ben, thoughts on the ins and outs? I like it. I'd love to see Stocker in this week. I don't know. I think I said it earlier. I think I'd like to see Pito play as the ruckman with Jesus or Lewis Young as the backup. Personally, especially against Gawn. Or is this the week where you have to play both? I think there's certain weeks where you have to play TDK and Pito. Is this one of those weeks? Because of Jackson and Gawn.
It's tough, isn't it? I mean, you probably have to this week to go up against them. And I think that gives a huge advantage to TDK because I think you can have a bit of fun, a bit more creativity. He did well in that preseason game. So, I mean, that's another thing we haven't talked about. The preseason game, these boys know they can do it against these melts. So that's a big thing. I'd love to see Kent come in. I know a lot of people have been saying, try something different in the forward line. I personally thought the first 6 games this year where Kent played the Jack Martin role, absolutely brilliant. And I remember saying in the VFL, once we get rid of him, Jack Martin, Kent will kill him. And then we started playing him down the back because everyone got injured. I would 100% bring Kemp in and say, mate, here's your chance. Show us this swingman role. I'd love to see that. So if there's anything that the club do, I'd love him to have the full capacity. I think he'd be brilliant. Other than that, I don't care.
Pommy, any news on the draft? Like, as in what we're looking at, what we need? Have you started? Because I mean, this time of the year is really when you start researching. Like, have you got any inside goss on who we might be interested in?
I hate to do it. Of course I have. I'm already in prep. I think it's going to be an interesting one this year. I've got a few favourites. So if you've been following me on Twitter, I've been doing a series once a month where I pop someone out. I think we've done Henry Hustlewaite, who is a strong inside midfielder that can play halfback flank, real interceptability. We picked him because of at the time McGovern and Marchbank weren't there. An interesting one. We've also had my boy Isaac Keeler. If Carlton wanted to go the route of bringing in a guy, the guy I'm looking at the moment, I think is someone that might be a wing threat. Someone who's a wing threat. I think Carlton probably desperately need a gun wing. So there's two guys I want you to think of. Ollie Hollins is a great little guy there. I'm really a big fan as well of Kobe Ryan, who has spent, he's basically Rory Laird, but now gone full-time midfield as a wing. Real damaging. He's got a lot of Carl Amons about him in the terms of that. He's quick, he's energetic, he's direct. He's got all the skills in that avenue as well, modern days. He's basically, I would say, potential to be a young Ed Langdon. Obviously, as well, few chat as well. Ollie Hollins is high up on the list as well. If Carlton should go the wing approach, he is the younger brother of Elijah Hollins. Very similar. Played a little bit more deeper though. Real pinch hitter inside midfield, but on the outside, he is explosive as well. Both of them, Kobe Bryant and him, very young type players. That Kobe Ryan and him, who could be elite wingmen. So I think Carlton may sniff at an early wingman. I think that's the idea.
I like it. Somebody asked a question earlier, and I've lost it. There's a lot here. Who do you think is leading our best and fairest?
Jesus, that's a good question, isn't it?
Because so many of them have missed. Portions of the season. Is Saad going to be the one that just gets there on top because he's played every game?
I think that's a great shout. I think Saad would be up there. I mean,
yeah,
I'd imagine Cripps' start has given him a huge advantage.
Yep.
But I would say he would be close. Hewitt, I won't be surprised to see Hewitt a lot higher up than people suspect because I think he's loved. But yeah, I think Saad would probably be the most consistent, wouldn't he? From round one to now.
I think so. Yeah, I think they've all had their turn at the top. I think Hewitt's going to be right up there at the start of the year. Oh, the news is through.
Yeah.
Sat here for 2 hours and the tribunal has upheld the 2-week suspension.
That is 100% your fault for having that good feeling. He's done it to me again, like 3 years later, and he's done it to me again.
Okay. Well, there you go. There's your answer. The Freedom Post is not there. The tribunal has upheld the rough conduct charge against Paddy Cripps. The tribunal agree with the MRO's classification of the contest as careless, high impact, and high contact. So the conversation will continue about that. Appreciate this, Stephen Spiteri. I'm not sure if they check the channel. Maybe they should check it after a loss to get the real sentiment. But
you don't slide into my DMs anymore, so probably.
Yeah, would love a phone call from time to time. But yeah, ladies and gents, that's it. Unfortunately, we sat here to get a result that we probably thought we were going to get. Let's be honest. But this was fun. We got to hang out. Appreciate. There's 1,000 of you watching right now. I don't know where you've come from or where you are, but thank you for being here. If you are tuned in right now, head to the Blue Abroad YouTube channel right now. The Jumper Punch is airing as we speak. Tune into the boys. They're reviewing the game. Appreciate your support. Those of you who came on. Pommy, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here, mate.
Mate, no place I'd rather be. The most fun you can have with your clothes off on this place. Tell you, most fun.
Yep, love it. Just to recap, Cripps will not be playing for the rest of the home and away season. He will miss this week against Melbourne. He will miss next week against Collingwood. We'll talk about it. The review, the preview for the Melbourne game will be out tomorrow at some point, so stay tuned for that. And have a good night, everyone. Go Blues, and tune into the Jumper Punch.